Every so often, a devastating natural disaster occurs somewhere in the world. A hurricane in New Orleans, an earthquake in Haiti, leaving scores of people in desperate living conditions. Through the lens of a news camera, the eyes of the world turn, and most often respond in overwhelming offers of help. There's a nation right here in America that live in similar conditions, but often go unnoticed. I'm speaking about our Native American reservations, where conditions sometimes equal third world countries. Look a little deeper, though, and you will see people who have made it their mission to help the less fortunate, and in so doing, bring something far more important: hope. One Nation Walking Together is an organization committed to serving the needs on American Indian reservations. Let's take a closer look.
When the Air Force sent me on active duty, they said, "Where do you want to live?" I said, "I want to live out west where the cowboys and Indians were." And so I took classes on native culture, native history, and Western history. And when the opportunity presented itself to do something like this, I did. I looked at the ceiling and I said, "I got to do it." So I did. I looked at the ceiling and told the Creator, "I'm going to do this." Back in the late 90s, a couple that lives in Manitou Springs, Colorado, heard about the plight of the people, and they got their neighbors and their church group to donate clothing and shoes, and they just went up to Pine Ridge and stopped at Big Bats and said, "We got some clothes and items, diapers. How can we help?" Till about 3 or 4 years ago, they were pretty active, but because of health issues, they had to bow out. And then that's when I got involved with it. Well, we are a charity, a local charity based in Colorado Springs, and our mission is to make a positive difference in the lives of Native Americans. We do this through various programs. We provide hope to the people living mostly on reservations in the West, in Montana, and North and South Dakota, Nebraska, New Mexico, Arizona, and the people in Colorado too. I've researched a lot of different sources, official government documents, tribal news, word of mouth, and it all comes down to basically the same thing. Unemployment is on average 70% at least all the time. Little hope for improvement. Our country worries right now about 10% unemployment, but our brothers and sisters experience 70% unemployment. They experience about 80% experience health issues, diabetes, heart disease, tuberculosis. They have the highest infant mortality rate of any group in our country. Teen suicides at an epidemic proportion. Maybe only half finish schooling. Gang violence, drug, alcohol abuse. I mean, the list goes on and on about. Then you add in there historical trauma, and you come up with a sense of hopelessness, and that's why we're here, to provide a sense of hope to these people. These items that are mostly donated by individuals or churches or groups or businesses in the Colorado Springs area, Pikes Peak region. They donate clothing and furniture and food and appliances and school supplies, medical supplies, Christmas gifts, used building materials, anything and everything that can sustain a family and keep them from starving to death, keep them from freezing to death. Well, the goods are donated to us, gifted to us, and we in turn gifted them to the people on the reservations. We might send them to a mission, a school, community. Individuals might even come down from a tribe with their own vehicle, and we'll load them up. But what's given to us, we give to the people. They're gifted to us, and we gift it to the people in need. I think last year we averaged close to $1.9 million in donations of merchandise that we sent. Well, we have an education program, which basically is we provide school supplies and school equipment, like computers, to schools, community centers, or even to individuals. If someone comes down in their own truck and says, "I could use 4 computers," we'll give it to them. We have a Christmas program where most of what we get in, 90% at least, is used merchandise. But when we get something that's brand new, that's suitable for an infant up to about age 18 for kids, we'll put that aside for our Christmas program, and we do the same thing for elders. And Last year, I think we sent up about 3,600 different Christmas gifts for the youth and the elders on the reservations. And then the other thing that grabbed me is, you know, Christmas used to be a big deal to me as a kid and to my kids and my grandkids. And I never knew that there was people that didn't have Christmas, you know. And sometimes I say, you know, if it wasn't for one nation, I'm quoting someone that says, if it wasn't for one nation, our youth and our elders wouldn't have a Christmas. They wouldn't get anything. And then we have a local program called Project Pride, where if anyone in the Pikes Peak region needs a hand, they need clothing, they need a bed, they need a dresser, whatever, they come in and the Indian way, we do good trade. You give me some of your time, we give you something back in return. And so that's what we call Project Pride. They sit down with Kathy and she says, okay, for that bed and the blankets you need and the shoes you need, how about giving us 3 hours of volunteer time? And they say yes, and then they help us either sorting the donations or load a truck or something like that.
My main purpose as far as being at the warehouse is to coordinate the volunteers that we get, finding where they fit. Not everybody works in the Christmas room, so I find who works in the Christmas room, who works in the warehouse, who goes on some of our repair trips. We'll take groups of volunteers to actually go to the reservation, try and do some work on a home. We'll take volunteers and run food up there, so I'll coordinate those. I also coordinate the donations as far as what's requested from the agencies or people up on the reservation. So when we load a semi-truck full of donations, we don't just put anything on it. We don't want to send landfill or waste. We find out what it is they need, so those are the items that we can put on the truck so there's no wasted space. It's impacted my life to understand how basic needs are not met by others. And it's impacted my life to the extent to know that if more people would get involved and get educated and learn about the needs here in our country, of the conditions here in our country, of our people, if they would just get involved and find out how to make a difference, because one nation's not a fix. And we don't think of ourselves as a fix, but a minor Band-Aid.
Yeah, we're most fortunate that we have support in many different ways, many different aspects. And again, another key person in keeping our charity going is our landlord, Mr. Russ Palmer. But a couple times a year, he'll give us the rent money back. We had a vehicle, a 2-ton box truck that we would use to go around town to pick up the furniture, the appliances, whatever, from people making donations that didn't have the ability to bring it to our facility, and it was breaking down every other day and costing us an arm and a leg to keep it going. And I just casually mentioned that to Russ, and one day he comes by and he says, hey, you still need another truck? I said, so bad, so bad. And next thing I know, he gives us the keys to a nice new truck, 2-ton box truck, and he saved us. It was an eye-opener for me the first time I went to the res, and just about every time I go to the res. What I see is I see a trailer that's dilapidated. It has one bedroom, and in that one bedroom there's one bed, and then in that one bed there's 7 babies sleeping. And yet those kids are running around showing you their little kitty cats and their dogs and hugging you, and then they touch your heart in such a way that nobody should live like that. And you see that, and it just wrenches your gut, wrenches your heart. And when you leave these people, you can't talk. Sometimes you can't even cry. It's so bad, it's so deep, the wound is so deep, it numbs you. And you say, people live like this? I said, some animals live better, have better accommodations than our people. These are our people, our brothers and sisters. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
The first time I went up there, I saw some pretty desperate living conditions. Homes that had been condemned, maybe infested. But I'm finding out throughout the years that the more I go back and the more I investigate and the more people I talk to and the more friends that I make up there, I come back even more stunned by the conditions. I come back and I go to sleep at night and realize when I wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom and go back to bed, I don't have to put my snow boots on to go walk through the 20-foot snowdrifts to use the outhouse. I find that I've learned what I take for granted, what normal society takes for granted.
We have a society, but I don't believe in this country we have a culture as white people. I don't think we have a culture other than greed and money. That's our culture. The native people are who we should emulate, respect, and admire, because they have so much to offer. Well, the warrior was the one that took care of his community, his village. Went out and got the food, brought it back, protected the village. And in that sense, the warrior spirit's still alive with our people that serve in the military, the men and women. We have men and women warriors today, our native. And I get political and I say, it's okay for them to serve their country. It's okay for them to die for their country. But it's okay for our country to let them live in this third world country conditions. You don't have to go to Haiti. You don't have to go to Africa. 6 hours, 7 hours most from Colorado Springs, third world country conditions. But one aspect, the one positive thing, statistic-wise, there's many positive aspects to Native culture, but the one positive statistic is, of any group in our country, the Native people have the highest per capita participation rate in the military. They still got the warrior spirit. This is their country.
What we have and what we take for granted has impacted my life to know that people are living in such horrendous conditions. The last family I visited just a few weeks ago, there's nothing I could do but take them the donations that we did, but I feel like we left them there to die.
Like a lot of conquered people, they're people with a sense of humor. They're a humble people. They're intelligent people. Family is most important. They have artistic talent that's unreal.
The lives we change is the life of a brother, sister, and grandpas and grandmas. And we change that life to make it a little easier on them, to make them feel a little bit more like they're somebody. But to reach out and touch buddy by heart, you reach out and you give them that love, and you give them that little bit of honesty, you know, that was denied to them for years and years and years, decades. And they hard to trust somebody, but when you step into their lives and you give them that one part of life, and you tell them, "Oh, brother, I love you," that meaning there is very powerful. Because when you tell them, "I love you," that means it from the heart. You give from here. On the other hand, a lot of the elders feel like the men, I don't need that help. I don't need that help. Well, I'm sorry, brother. My heart and the Spirit talked to me and told me, come bring you this gift. So I want to bring it to you. And this is how I did it. And with that, that's how I feel it. See? When I was there for the first time to the reservation on Rosebud, we was there and we went to have lunch with the kids that we played at the school for. And the lady that was there was telling us, she said, these kids only get 2 meals a day. You know, no third meal. Some of them do, some of them don't. But the most fortunate ones get their meal, breakfast at school, and their lunch at school, for what you're eating now. And then they go home to poverty, where they don't have that meal. unless they're over at the school for the year, and then they get the third meal. That really set me back to look at that and go, my God, is it really that bad? Yeah, it is. And then we went to go see them at some of the houses that we seen. And to see it walk in and they have a little bitty light bulb hanging from the ceiling. It's connected to a neighbor's house. It's connected to a neighbor's house. It's connected to the other neighbor's house. And it breaks my heart. It really does. It tears me up inside to go, God, why? You know, why? Why you do this to the people? God says, I didn't do it to the people. The people did it to the people. It wasn't I. Okay. We went to the, what they call a teepee. There on Rosebud. And it's a lockdown prison like for the kids, teenage kids that mess up. And they lock them all up. I can remember one boy that when they all walked in was supposed to be like the tough guy. He was the boss. And he sat down beside me. And I looked at him. And I watched the other ones walk in. They give you the stern, hard look. I've seen that look before. You know, I've got many children, so I've seen that look. And he's sitting there, and they started giving introductions, talking. And this guy's got his arms folded. Boy, he's a tough guy. And he looked at me and I told him, you drum? Well, yeah. I told him, take my drum, my hand drum, and I want you to play for me while I play my flute. Oh, he goes, I can do that. So I gave him my drum and he played it. Pow, pow, pow. And I tell him what to play and he just was smiling from ear to ear. Man, that look of, oh, he really got happy, you know. And when we left there, that young man walked up to me, gave me a hug. And I hugged him back and I kissed him on the cheek. And he told me in my ear, I love you, Grandpa. I love you, Grandpa. I said, I hear what you're saying, son. I hear what you say. It made me feel good in my heart. No, I reached out and touched one of them kids. A story comes to mind. And when we do on our show, they broadcasted it on the radio station. I didn't know they had done that. In this time of stories and everybody talking and everything, there was a grandpa and a grandma in their car going down the road. And they were looking for a truck and to meet head on. They was going to commit suicide together, this grandma and grandpa. And they had to listen to the radio. Grandpa pulled off to the side of the road. They finished listening to the program. And when he got done, he went back and he was telling his family what they were going to do. And telegraph wire reservations are better than Mall Bell. So it got back to us that this grandpa and grandma had heard our stories, listened to us, and they said, these people care. These people do love us. Changed life. Let's go back. So they came back. So that changed that grandma and grandpa's life. You know? Give us all your used clothes. Give us your good clothes. Give us your food. Give us your refrigerators, your stoves, your furniture, your beds. Give us your books, your pencils. Give us all the stuff that we need. That way we can take it back to the people. You know?
I think this has been the plan for my life, you know. My 33 years of working in management and organizing and planning things, just is what the Creator had in mind for me all along. I've come full circle and I'm where I'm supposed to be. I really believe that.
Thank you. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for where you've made of us. And please help us to help the others of my peoples and all the reservations. Please help One Nation to help them. From the bottom of my heart, I tell you, what the nation, may God bless and keep each and one of you tonight safe in your homes.
One Nation Walking Together is committed to making a positive difference in the lives of American Indians through volunteer help and generous community support. The rewards come firsthand in seeing how these acts of kindness impact those on the receiving end. We would like to express a word of thanks at this time from those of us here with Hidden Heritage and Brule to the many volunteers who work with One Nation Walking Together. If you would like to help One Nation, please call 1-719-329-0251 or visit their website at www.onenationwt.org.